Hello everyone, Watch Albion Online content creator here. I've been playing Albion Online since 2015 testing and I've quit a few times but I always come back. With the European servers out, I had to come back. I joined my friends in escalation, did some ZZ content until the guild broke apart due to us being too good at the game and the whole server allying against our solo guild. It happens. Ever since then I've been focusing more on solo content and here I am. Solo content can get frustrating, but hopefully with my advice you'll come out on top and start enjoying the game as a solo player. So, what should you do? It depends what you want to do, and keep in mind that this is my advice based on my opinion and experience. If you want to do something else, that is fine. I'll be answering questions of how do you get into PvP, how do you fame farm, and how do you gain silver. I really recommend to start off this game in the mists. When the European servers came out, the first thing I did was hop into mist with my tier 3 gear, using a fire staff since that's all I had. It really does not matter what you want to use, but Fire Staff and Nature Staff are easy weapons to use in low tiers. Also keep in mind that the mentality that you need to get a fame farming set to spec up the rest of your gear is a relic of the past. This was needed for us back then, but back a few years ago we didn't have such an easy access to fame as we do right now. So grab your tier 3 or tier 4 set, it doesn't matter what you're using. Find a blue orb called a Wisp in yellow or higher zones. Yellow zones giving the least rewards, but you don't lose your items if you die there. So if you're a completely new player, feel free to play around in yellow till you graduate to higher tiers. You can bring a 30k tier 4 set of a nature staff like I do and go to black zones, and you'll get your silver back in just a few minutes by picking up the silver and silver bags. Make sure your guild tax isn't ripping you off, by the way. Once you are in, you need to keep these things in mind. Random mobs are good fame, but the small camps can sometimes give you millions of loot in the chests. But it's also a PvP hotspot. This is where most of the PvP happens. In yellow zones, objectives like the camps have an orange ring. It indicates PvP activation if you're inside of it, but you don't lose your stuff. Now in black zones, there is no such thing as an orange ring, and there's PvP everywhere, and if you die, you lose your stuff. So decide if the PvP risk is worth the chest. If you're okay with losing your set, go ahead. Otherwise, just kill the random mobs, maybe find a coffer or a crystal spider. These things only show up when you're nearby, so as long as no one else is nearby, they won't see this objective and you can take it freely. Drop everything that you're doing if you see an Abbey spawn nearby. They are amazing fame. In tier 7 Abbey, I was doing the other day, I was managing to get 5.6 million fame an hour in the rates. Although in total I only got like 1.1 million since the Abbey closed down before I could get more than that. And this is basically it. You kill random mobs in the mists, the objectives that have little to no risk, and do Abbeys. This will give you millions of silver, but a set that only requires 30k of input. Now the price can be higher depending on what items you're buying, and if you're using supplies like health potions, invisibility pots, Xander fish, which is a tier 6 fish by the way, it's pretty good, or cabbage soup. But keep in mind that in the mists, such low costs like 50k, 30k, they'll be paid back in just a few minutes of you opening silver bags or killing mobs and picking up their silver. Now once you get some capital, you might want to upgrade your gear to 6.1. It's a good base grind for a budget set. Make sure to look at quality. Excellent quality will give you a nice item power boost. But also keep in mind that you don't really need to upgrade to 6.1 set. It's way more important for you to have enough money to buy those tier 4 sets so you can spec it up, because having high specs will give you multiple tiers of item power equivalent. From here, I personally would want to take some PvP if you haven't already in the mists, which I probably don't think you did since you're on tier 4 set, you're more focused on running away and surviving. But now that you have some capital, I recommend getting a fair fight. Or you can just skip this and go to the mist, but if you want a fair fight, I recommend doing corrupted dungeons. It is one of my favorite contents ever. I've made a lot of videos on them before, and I enjoyed it a lot. Corrupted dungeon loot isn't as good as it used to be, it has been nerfed a few times over the years, and mists still give you better loot, but if you want to do fair PvP, corrupted dungeons is where you go. When you go in, activate the shrine, kill mobs, look for the notification or teleportation, and kill your opponent. Simple, easy, and fair. I like corrupted dungeons, I wish corrupted dungeons got a buff. So to summarize, I recommend using a very cheap set that you can build your capital off. Go to the mists, that is the best spot to get your fame and silver up with a set that costs nothing. Once you did that, I recommend tasting some PvP in the corrupted dungeon since it's fair, it notifies you when the fight is happening with a person. And besides that, it's very chill content. So yeah, that is my advice for how to be a solo player.